Welcome back to my channel, and in the previous lesson we have completed this form till here. In the previous lesson we have discussed how to format cell, center across the alignment, save data from one sheet to another sheet, create shapes and assign macro, how to create message, and how to find the last available row. In lesson number 2 we are going to discuss these following topics and learn them: how to rename the Excel sheet in Visual Basic, how to duplicate the buttons and name them, how to add and clear the form, automate the customer ID, how to search records and edit them, how to hide and unhide the buttons, and how to restrict the user to fill the required fields. So if you're new to the channel, I'll share the link for you in the more section, and it's better you watch the lesson number 1 so that you can continue with the lessons with us. First of all, I'll show you how to rename the Excel sheet in VBA. Let's go to our Visual Basic editor, Alt F11, select this module. You see here the names are sheet number 2, sheet number 2, sheet number 1. I want to give a specific name to my sheets so that I can easily know them. If you don't have this property window, you can just press F4 to show the property window, or just click on this property icon here and it will show you the property window. I'll select customer sheet number 1 and I'll name it custom sh customer form, because on this sheet I have the customer form. And sheet number 2, I'll name it sheet customer database. Because on sheet number 2 I have the customer database. Now if I run my code, I'll come through an error. Let me show you. Now if I click save, it gives me an error. Variable not defined. Why? Because there is no sheet number 2 in this coding now, in this sheet project. You see here, there's no sheet number 2, there's no sheet number 1. Now I have to replace all the sheet number 2 with the name that I have given. Sheet number 2 was my customer database and sheet number 1 was my customer form. So let me rename them first. And how to easily find your coding and replace them, I'll just click Control F, find. I'll write here sheet number 1. I'll replace it with custom sheet customer form. Find next and just replace it. It has been replaced. Now I'll find sheet number 2, replace it with sheet customer database. Find next, replace, and all has been replaced. Let me remove some of the coding that we have done previously. Now I don't need them. I'll delete this one. I'll uncomment this one. Okay. Now when we run our, always when you see this yellow mark, that means your module is in break mode. So we have to reset it. Click on reset. Now I'll go back to our customer form. Now when I click save, the data is saved. Okay. Let's go to customer database. You see the data has been saved, but it has been duplicated because we haven't yet written the code to edit or to find whether it's a duplicate or it's a new record. We'll continue with that. So this topic has been completed. Now let's duplicate the buttons. Next topic. How to duplicate the buttons and name them. Give them a specific name so that you can easily give properties to it or hide them and unhide them. So I'll just copy this save button that we have created before. Easiest way to do is just click right drag with the right mouse button and drag it. Copy here. I'll remove the macro. Go to properties, assign macro. I'll remove this previously assigned macro. Click OK. Now it's a simple shape. There's no macro assigned to it. I'll make copies of it. Control C, Control V. keep this one aside. Maybe we can later use it. Let's align them. I'll name this one as add. This one as edit. And this one cancel. Now select them by holding the control key. Go to format, align to the top, and distribute them horizontally. I'll just remove it spacing, it's too much. You can move it with the arrow keys also. Let's move them to the side. Now let's divide them, distribute them horizontally. I think that looks perfect. So that's duplicated. The buttons have been duplicated. Now I have to give them a specific name. You see it's written here rectangle, rounded rectangle number 3. I don't want this. I want to give it a specific name. I'll name it customer save button. I'll name this one as customer add button. And I'll name this one as customer edit button. And this one customer cancel button. Now these are the specific name I've given to them. Whenever I click on this button now, you see the name appears here in this section. So this topic has been completed, how to duplicate the button and name them. They are given a specific name to them. Now how to add, clear the form and automate the customer ID. We are going to code our first button, that is the add. I'll go to Visual Basic. I'll click 11. I'll create a new sub here. It's better to indent your coding. I'll create sub customer add. First of all, I have to clear the contents. I want to clear all these contents automatically. I don't have to go again and again and delete them myself. So I'll just type, and to make it more easy, we can use the with function, the with statement. With customer form and with. This way I don't have to type every time. I don't have to type customer sheet number 1, sheet number 2, or customer form number 1, customer form number 2. I'll just type dot range. Sorry. Dot range clear content. Now I want to clear the contents from C4 through I. C4 dot I4. And this line of code clear the form. It will clear the form. Now the next step is how to get automatically this customer ID. To get the customer ID automatically, I have to first find the next available ID. Here I'll write next customer ID. Let me give them some borders from here. Let me change the color. Okay. So here I'm going to use to find first the next available customer ID. For example, the next ID for me should be 6. So I have to find in this column the maximum ID that is available. I'll enter a formula equal to mx maximum. I'll go back to the customer database. I'll select this column. I'll give it a large range 9999 and press enter. It gives me 5. 5 is the maximum number available here. But I need 6, so I'll just add 1 to it. Plus 1. Now this is my next customer ID. Let me align them. This is my next customer ID. Now to bring this ID automatically to this one, whenever I click add, this ID should be assigned automatically. I'll go to my coding. I'll write dot range. This is C5. This should automatically, the value should change its range. Range C4 dot value is equal to dot range dot sorry. I'm using the auto hotkey that completes the code for me, is equal to, this is B5. So it will pull this value and bring it here. B5. Update the new customer ID. Now let's assign our code to the add button. Right click, assign macro, customer add. Okay. Now let's see. See, the form has been cleared and the new ID has been already assigned. Now when I write another name, for example Peter, his mobile number, whatever, so lives in Dallas. I don't know the states, but I'll just write Dallas, USA, testing 6 and save it. It has been saved. Okay, now you see the next available ID is 7. Let's go to our database, and the next available ID for me is 7. Let me remove this pop-up message for the rows, because now we don't need this one. This message last row, we don't need this always. We can remove it. So this is how we can add and clear the form and automate the IDs. Now the next step is how to search for a specific record. For example, I want to edit record number 6. I want to record number 75, customer 6. How to do that? So to search for a record, I'll create a field here. Let me just resize it. So for the purpose of search, I'll create a field here. Give it a border. I'll write here search and remove the color from this field. No fill. So here we can enter the ID. For example, if I enter number 5, it should automatically pull the record number 5 for me, customer data record number 5. But before to proceed to search, I have to tell Visual Basic, whenever I make change to this section, to this search field, it should automatically show me the record. So to do that, we'll go to our Visual Basic editor. Now, as we are making change to the sheet, the specific sheet, that is, let me maximize, that is this sheet, customer form. We are making change to the customer form. You see here, this is my customer form. I'm making change to this form. Then I'll do the coding on this sheet. I'll double click it. When you double click, you see this another windows open for you, just go to select sheet. But we are not doing the change to the selection change. We are doing to change to the selection to the sheet change. Here it is. Let me find it. Here, change. Worksheet change. I'll remove this. That is, whenever I make any change to the worksheet, it should do a function. I'll write if not intersect this D2. I'll replace this with D2. This means, let me write, and if not intersect target, this is the target, range D2 means our user makes any change to it, then it should do something, and that's the meaning of this code. So D2, whenever it make change, let me show, suppose if I write any changes here, it just showed me a message box. So to see whether my coding is correct or wrong, let me display a message box, simple message box. You have made change to cell D2. Let's see now. Whenever I make change to this message will pop up. Let me do 6. You see, the message has popped up. If I change it to 1, the message shows me. That means now whenever a user makes any change to this cell, it will pop up this message. But I don't want it to pop it every time. So I'll add another line of code. D2 dot range D2 is not empty, is not equal to empty. That means whenever, so I forgot to write and. So whenever it makes a change, but the value, there should be a value in it. If it's blank, it will not pop up the message. Let's see that. Now if I leave blank, it shows me nothing. See, it shows me nothing. Yeah, not dot. You have to remove the dot, just range. Now when I write 1, it will show me the message. But if this I leave it blank, it will show me nothing. So the second line of this means range D2 value is empty. So if it's empty, it will show me nothing. It will do nothing. Let me remove this, because later on I'll do the search. Now to do the search, I'll pull the data from here to the customer ID to do the search. So instead of the message box, now I will write range I'm using the auto hotkey, that is D2 sorry, I have to pull the data to C4. I'll move the data, copy it from to C4. C4 dot value is equal to D2. Now let's see. When I make any change, 1, you see it automatically changes. Before I proceed to the search, I want to know whether the user is adding, or he's editing, or he's searching for something. So I'll add few fields here. Add customer, add or edit. So this will be either true true or false. I'll here customer load. When I'm searching for a customer, it should load. So this should be either false or true. Now I'll just keep it false. So I'll give another line of code to search if the customer load is equal to true. If it's not equal to true, then it should not load, because that means I'm doing an edit or an add function. I'm doing some work, another work to it. So this should not load the customer. I'll go to this line of code and add another line, and this B4 should be true whenever I'm doing a search. Let me show it. Dot range B4 is equal to true. Let me take you through the code. And what does it say? Let me see. If not intersect, move this to a side. If not intersect, that is nothing, and range D2 is not. Oh, sorry, I replaced the empty. We remove this empty. So it comes. Now let's see the code. If not intersect, if any change is made to D2 and D2 is not empty, and B4, that is the customer load is equal to true, then it should make this change. Now let's see. This is false. Now if I make a change here, you see this is not changed, but as I change it to true, now I make a change here and it's made the changes. So now let's go to the search. Before I write the code for the search, first of all I have to match this ID. I have to find this ID number 3 in this database. It lies in row number 7. So I have to first find this row number so that I can edit it, or I can load it, the customer load. So first I have to find this one. For that purpose, I'll use the match function. Customer match equal to match lookup value. So the lookup value is this 3, comma. Lookup array. The lookup array is the customer ID. We give it a long range 9999. Now, the match type is I want the exact match, so I'll write 0. Press enter. Now it gives me, let me align it to the left, increase the size, let me right line it. So it gives me the customer match is 3. It's correct. This is 3, but I want 7, row number 7. So I'll just add 4 to it. Plus 4. But what if the customer is not available there? Suppose if I write number 8, it gives me an error. So to remove this error, that means the customer is not found. So I'll just leave it blank. I'll wrap it in if error. If error, this value gives me an error, then it should return a blank field. Now let's see. See, now the field is blank. That's why this way I will know that this 8th number does not exist in the record. Let's go to, we don't have 8, we have only 6. So if I type 6 here, you see it returns customer match. Let me write row so that it's easy for you to understand. Customer match row. So this is now, it returns me 10. Let's go back to customer number 6, it's row number 10. Now we can easily find our record. Now let's write the code for our customer load or customer search. I'll go back to the module. We can rename our module also. Just let me rename it. Customer macros. Now let's create search sub customer load. First of all, I have to see whether this match is empty, it has a match or not, it has found or not the match. So I'll write if it's B6, let me write with sh customer form and with, so dot range B6 is equal to empty. Then let me write if this is empty, then message box, please enter a valid customer ID. And if, let me tab this. So if this, it doesn't find this match, it will give a message that when you select and enter and exit sub. Exit sub. Then I have to create then exit sub. Else if it has found the customer match, customer match row, then it should proceed with loading the customer. But before we load the customer, we have to save the value, create a variable, the variable to save this value, this row number, and this row number B, it's B6, customer row. Let me assign the value customer row is equal to dot range B6. I've saved the customer row number to this way. Now let's load the customer. It's very easy. It's just the opposite of save. Let's go there. We have the save function here, you see. So it's just the opposite. I'll just copy this. Control C to save some time. Control V. Now what we want is, when we have found the row, I found the row already. I know the row. This is the customer row is B6. The value is in B6. Let me show you. You see the values here in B6. I know the customer row. The customer row is number 10. I just have to pull this data from here and bring it to this form here. Okay, but I already written the customer ID. I'll just bring from D to I. So customer, I'll just take this to the N just to save some time, is equal to, see here, customer form C, not C4. Now I want it from D. D4 to I4, from here, from this D to I, all through here I want, because I've already entered the customer ID. D4 is equal to customer database C, not from C, from, let's go to customer database, from D, I want from here, from name all through here. I'll change it to, sorry, to D, not last customer row, but customer row. Change this to also to customer row. Now the value of customer row is already here available here. It's number 10. Now let's call our data. Let's call our search procedure in our sheet chain. This is customer load. Let me go to customer form, and now I'll call customer load. Let me show you. See, this automatically changes. See it, customer load. I have not entered in capital letter, but as I move to another line, it will change automatically. That means that the customer load, the name of the customer procedure is correct. Let's go and make some changes. Let me write 1, and you see it's pulled. Let me write 2, shows you there. Let me write 10, and it gives an error. Let me see. Dot value. Yeah, it gives an error. And why it gives an error? I'll show you that. Because I have assigned a blank value. There's no value here. You see here, it's empty. I have assigned a blank value, a null value to the customer row. So it gives me an error. And you can see here, it shows me, you see, it shows me customer row is equal to 0 because there's no customer row. So what I'll do, I'll just move this line of code as I'm doing it from scratch with you. So I'll just move this line of code after the else. Let me show you. I'll just move this line of code because when the ID is not blank, it should do something. If it's blank, it should stop. Let me reset it. You see, this way you can find your mistakes also. Now let's run the code again. Now if it's type 10, you see, please enter a valid customer ID. Okay, so because this is now blank, it has not returned, but I should also clear this all because there's no 10 record. I should clear this content also. Let's go back to our customer load. So if it doesn't find a customer value, it should clear the form. It is just simple dot range, clear the contents from C4 to I4. You can just copy this. Let's Control C and let's copy the content. Basically Control V. Now, if a user selects an ID that is not available, it will automatically give a message and clear the form. Let's try it. Again, customer ID not available, and it clears the form. If I write 6, it returns that. If I write 5, it returns. So this search has been completed. But now what if I want to edit this record? If I want to edit this record, I must know first of all whether it's a new record or it's a previous record, it's a new one. So to understand that, to find that, I have to make some changes to the add and save button. Before I proceed to the edit coding, I have to change these values. Again, I have to change these values. Suppose if I'm searching, so this should be true. If I'm adding or editing, then this should go to false and this should go to true. Let me do that coding. In the add button, let's go, this is B3. In the add button, now in the add procedure, customer add, I'll just line a few line of codes, that is dot range, and it's B3. Whenever I'm adding, B3 value should be true. Add or edit customer. Customer is true. the next line, dot range B4, that is the customer load should become false, so that the user cannot search for another customer. False. And I'll add the same code to the save button also. Control C. I'll go to the save here and reverse it. Now let me add with here also. With sh customer form and with. Let me move it down. We take a look to the code, customer form. Here I don't need this customer form now. I'll just remove it. Dot range, dot value is equal to 2 and this correct. Okay, let me tab them out. So that our coding looks neat and nice. So this is now the customer. When I save, it should go to false and the search should go to true. Customer load should go to true. False and true. Now let's try our add button and see what happens. You see, when I click on add now, it goes to true, this goes to false. But how we'll find that to save whether it's new record or an old record that is being modified? So if this is 7, see, the customer match is blank. When the customer match, that is B6, is blank, that means it's a new record. Let's go to our save, customer save, and we'll make some changes here. If it's because B6, if dot range B6, it is the customer match is equal to empty or blank, then this means that if B6 is empty, that means the match is not found. Here the match is not found, that means it's a new record. So then new customer, else previous match found, and if. Now we have to make a lot of changes to our save customer save code. This means new customer match not found. When the match is found, we have to update the previous record. So to do that, we'll change this variable from last row to customer row, because now it's not the last row, it's the customer row. I'll change this customer row. I'll change this also to customer row, and I'll change this also to customer row, and I'll change this because as we are continuing the previous lesson, so I'm showing you all the changes that we have to make. And this way you can learn how to make change to any previous sheet that you have. Now, if range B6 is empty, that means a new customer. For a new customer, we'll just copy this line of code and bring it down because it's a new customer. Okay, and we will assign this value automatically, this value 7 here. We have already assigned it 7, but we will save it to the database. That is, we will save C6 C4 to this available row. Asset customer database dot, let me see, it's C, yeah, it's C. Dot range C, and the customer row dot value is equal to dot range B6. This will automatically copy the data from to here to B to C4 from customer C4. In this line of code, we'll save the customer ID to customer database. But if it's an edit, the match is found, then our customer row is equal to the match that is found, the row number that is found, and that is, you see, this is B6. The match that is found is equal to dot range B6. That means it's an previous customer, and we are doing edit. Now I'll change this from C to D because we have already assigned the customer ID to the database. So I'll just change this from C to D. I'll change this from C to D. And I'll move this code, all of this code from here, this line of code. No need to move it, just keep it. Let's run our, let me indent them. Now let's run our, I'll always save it before I run a procedure or a macro. Now let me find number 5. Let me turn this back to true, so it will load. Let me find number 5. So this is been loaded. I'll make some changes to it. I'll change name to Mr. Naeem, just a little bit change to see Mr. Naeem. I'll change this to Lahore, and this also to Lahore, and right here edit to see it. Let's click on save. Data has been saved. Let's see this now. See this automatically it changed to false. This goes to true. Let's go to customer database, and you see the name has been edited. Let's try another one. Let's change this Zain to another one. Let's find number 1. See Zain. Let's change it to Zainul Abidin and click save. Customer has been saved. Let's go to our database. You see it has been changed because it always finds the row number and it changes the same. Now if I want to add a new one, let's add a new one. Add, it goes automatically. Karachi and Karachi. Pakistan new record. Let's click on save, and this goes back to true, this goes to false, and you see here Peter has been added, number 6. Let's try again. Maybe this was before. Let me see what happened. I have made a slightest mistake here because I'm saving B6. Let me show you the mistake that I made. Customer save. Yeah, here it is, customer save. In this line of code, you see here, I'm saving B6, and when I'm adding a new customer, I'll show the mistake also. This B6 is empty. I should have saved C4. Let me go back and change this line of code, C4. It should be C in C4 because I've already assigned the new value. Now let's run it again. Let me save my work. Click save. Customer has been saved. Let's go to the, and now you see it has been saved. Let's change this again. Let me change Peter to Tahir. Same place. Click save, and you see it has been changed to Tahir. So this way we have learned how to search for a record and edit them. But next point is how to hide these buttons, because suppose if a customer clicks on add, I must hide these two buttons, edit and show the other ones. For that purpose, I'll write the code how to hide the buttons. Let's proceed to, when I'm adding, let's go to the customer add. Then the shapes, that is customer add button, should go to false. MSO, let me write the equal to MSO false. And customer add is false, customer edit should go to false. Edit should go to false. Now let's see. Now let's run our code. Let me click add, and you see they just disappear, hide. But it's better, I should clear this search field also. Let me go to the coding. Search this D2. When I add, D2 should go to blank. Add, and this D2 dot RJ, D2 should, the search should go to blank. D2 is equal to blank. Now when I click on save button, these values, these shapes should be unhidden. Let me copy them. It's better to comment them. Hide the customer add button. And the customer copy this code, Control C, and let's save it here. Control V, and I'll just unhide them. Let me indent them. Just hide them. Equal to MS, so true. Control C, Control V, and hide, and hide. So now when I click on save, customer has been saved. But as I clicked on save, you see here a blank record has been saved, and I don't want to save a blank record. To restrict the user to fill these records, we have to write a line of code for that. Here I'll use a font important or required fields. Required fields. The required fields are customer ID, name, and mobile. I'll just select 3 of them. Equal to, I'll use the count a function. I'll select them all, press enter. Now you see the count is 1. As I write a name here, David, I write the mobile number, and the count goes to 3. So I'll write a code for it. This is one way to do it, and that is before save, it should look if all these fields are filled or not. So this is the last topic. This is the last topic, how to restrict the user. So let's go to our Visual Basic. Now if this is required field is B7. I'll write a code here in the save, customer save. If.rg B7, let me make it sure. Yeah, it's B7. If B7 dot value is less than 3, then message box name, customer ID, name, and mobile number cannot be blank. Bank, exit sub, and if. Now let's see. Let me click on save. Let me remove this. Click on save and see customer ID name. It gives us a message. It will not save. You see, let's go database. See, it's not saved until I enter the mobile number and click on save. Data has been saved. So it has been saved. Let's write a code for the cancel button. Let's go to our Visual Basic editor and let me add a new sub customer cancel. I just copy this add code because it's all similar. I made a few changes only. Control C. Let's paste it Control V. So first thing is to clear the contents. I also want to clear the search. Let me go to the search is D2. I'll add here D2. Comma D2. This will clear the form, and let's get the last ID, last customer ID by just minusing 5-1. Just minus 5-1. You see, this is B5. B5. You have the new ID. I'll just minus 1 from it, and this will give me the last customer ID. Minus 1 gives me last customer ID, and then we will turn the add back to true, we'll turn add back to false as we are cancelling it, false, and search true, true V, and this also true. Remove this coding, we don't need this line of code. Shape customer ad visible is equal to true. Change this to equal to ms of true. Control C, and the edit should also go to true. Now this should go to false. MSO false, MSO false. Copy. Let me paste it. Control V. Control C, unhide, unhide, and this will change to hide. Let us save our work. And customer form, all looks correct. Let's run our code. Assign a macro. Customer cancel. Okay. Let's see now how it looks. Add, cancel. Working fine. But we have to overlap these buttons. To do that, we can just select any one of it. Go to Format, Selection pane. I'll select the Add button. Where is it? That's Add button and the Save button. I'll just move them to this side. Overlap them. Align to the left. Now I'll select the Edit button, the Edit, and the Cancel. Move them to here. Let's align them to the right. This looks nice. Let's give it a try. Add, cancel. But it didn't load the last. It gave the idea, but it didn't load the last customer because we have forgot to add customer load. Customer load. And there it goes. Let's see. Add, cancel. It closed the last one. Let's search for the first one. Number 1. Let me make some changes. Mr. Zain. Let's write a code for the edit button also. Go to Visual Basic Editor, and just I'll write a few lines of code because later on we're going to complete it. Sub customer edit. I just want to show hide and hide the buttons, that's all. I'll just bring over this add, all of the add button coding. Control C. Let's move it here to Control V, and let's make some changes. I don't want to clear the form. Remove this. I don't want to add. Just remove this also. I just want to change from true to false. That's correct. Just remove this one and change the search, no problem. And visible is equal to false. This is equal to false. True, true, true. That's correct. Let's go to. Let's click on edit. Let me assign a macro. Assign macro. Customer edit. Okay. Let's click on it. You see. Now let me change this to Mr. Zain. Let's save it. You see now the button changes. Hope you like this video, and in the next video I'm going to show you how to protect your sheet so that By mistake, nobody can make any changes to it.